as youth's idol. Our India has a rich history of culture and tradition and has its strong pillars on our Vedic texts. Indian history has accounts of bravery, ethics, principles, and discipline in both social and personal lives. India has its two great and ancient epics, namely Ramayana and Mahabharata. Both the epics portray human values that a human must possess in his or her life. Both these epics revolve around two personalities that are indeed complete in themselves. Mahabharata revolves around Lord Krishna, who represents dharma and morality, and in Ramayana, Lord Ram is a symbol of sacrifice and discipline. Both these idols teach us about how to live in our personal lives, which should be like Lord Ram, where we live with morals and discipline, with an intention of caring about every human that comes in one's life. And like Lord Krishna, who shows us how to live in social life, that is, sometimes nobly and peacefully, and sometimes cunning and in a diplomatic sense. These two are not just stories but the way of life. Lord Ram has such a glory and aura of his personalities that he is worshipped in many countries worldwide. To give an example, in Indonesia, which is the biggest Islamic country, it broadcasts the serial Ramayana daily on the national television channel. Ramayana is also the national book of Indonesia. The king of Thailand holds the title before his name as King Rama the Ninth. As of today's occasion of Ram Navami, we especially the youths must study Lord Ram not just as a picture of God, but as a son, a brother, a friend, and as a human. Primarily, today we are going to discuss about some qualities of Lord Ram which every man should possess. First, sacrifice. When we hear the name Ram, the first thing that comes in our mind is about his sacrifice of all royal luxuries and that he went to Vanvas for 14 years. Here, this quality of Lord Ram is highlighted. Lord Ram was the prince of Ayodhya and was soon going to be crowned as the king, but his stepmother opposed and he was forced to go in forest as a Vanvasi. Here we can learn from Lord Ram the sacrifice that he made so that his stepmother could be satisfied. Ram was a great king for a reason, that he just did not rule for increasing his territories of his kingdom, but when the time came, he left his kingship and went in forest. Another part of his life where Lord Ram showed his qualities of sacrifice is when he was forced to leave Sita Mata on the advice of his citizens against his will. Ram pledged that he will live his rest of his life and Sita Mata would live in ashram of Valmiki Rishi. Ram used to sleep on floor and did not eat food which he was usually served as a king. When Sita Mata was abducted by Ravan, though Ram had all the power to remarry, he did not do this. We as youth must learn how in some situations a person must have mental and physical ability to sacrifice not only for a personal gain but also for nation and mankind at large. Second, equality and justice. Lord Ram was abrasive about justice, which can be seen in many situations. When Ram was called by Vali, he gave him justice. Ram was so particular about justice that he even sent Sita Mata to the ashram. When he defeated Ravan, he did not crown himself as the king of Lanka but made Bibhishan the king. Equality is a quality which was displayed by him in many situations where he did not make any difference between a general citizen and his own brother while giving punishments. These are two important qualities which a youth should possess if he wants to be successful in his life. Third, morality. It is such a quality which a person must have. But looking at today's world, we can see that morality has been only a subject that is taught and never been taken seriously. Morality means a right way of doing anything. Today, in this pandemic situation, we hear about all sorts of malpractices in medical sector. Doctors and hospitals are charging a huge amount of bills from the patients who are financially not capable to pay the money. This is morally incorrect. Corruption is another such a phase of it where a person can do anything and everything with money. Youth, particularly as a future of this nation, should be taught about morality in their schooling life, which would definitely help in making a bright future of this nation. Fourth, tolerance. Lord Rama was known for his evenness of temper. He never became angry on any occasion. When Ram broke the bow of Lord Shiva, he withstood the angry words of Parshurama and instead extolled him. Even when Ravana abducted Sita, Ram did not lose his temper but sent a messenger to make peace. Such was his equanimity that when Lakshmana barred Durvasa to visit Rama, he did not utter any cursive words, but silently followed his brother into the Sarayu river. Fifth, forgiveness. Lord Rama was the quintessence of forgiveness. On the last day before the war, Lord Ram told Ravana to free Sita and he would readily forgive him. But the king of Lanka, intoxicated by his pride, was ultimately consumed by it. His forgiveness is further shown in this example. To gather information about the enemy's army's strengths and weaknesses, Ravana sent two of his spies, Sukha and Sarna, to the Ram's camp. Disguised as they blended into the enemy camp, but Ram saw through their deceit. The duo sought Rama's protection when the monkey warriors thrashed them. Lord Ram gave them refuge. He then asked them what their mission was and whether they fulfilled it. After listening to them, he sent a person to give them a proper tour of all the camp and give them all the information they desired about the major soldiers and their strengths. Sixth, the ultimate manifestation of virtue itself. Friend, the adherence to this quality is impossible, and only this quality is what separates us from Lord. But you can try to implement it. Lord Ram is God himself. God must be the exemplar of virtue. God, in fact, has all the virtues combined. Thus, Ram, as a human, was acquired to uphold dharma at all costs. Remember the phrase, at all costs. Therefore, he, in order to uphold dharma, accepted the exile of 14 years. Here, dharma is not merely upholding his father's wishes, but to meet Ravana and deliver him. Likewise, he banishes his consort Sita not only for the sake of petty Arthashastra, but because as a god, his paramount essence is to be the exemplar of virtue. Only then he can rule someone. This is impossible for us to follow because our heart and mind functions as a human and we tend to be biased. Seventh, spirituality. Lord Ram's spirituality is such a quality which was seen throughout his lifetime. While he was in Vanvas, he was continuously in fellowship of saints. While his journey to Sri Lanka, he built various temples such as Rameshwar. Today's generation should be in search of such persons in their lives that could guide and make future bright. Hence, to conclude that we see Lord Ram just as a religious entity of a particular religion, but Ram is such a personality which is a textbook of such humanly qualities that are not just to be read but also to be implemented in one's life. As discussed above, Ram is worshipped in many other countries. In Bali, there are statues huge of Ram and Lakshman and Sita. Sri Lankan government officially recognizes all the historic evidences of the epic of Ramayana. But our misfortune that form of the country Ram belongs has a debate about his historic existence. This can be only corrected by teaching history and values of Ramayana in schooling curriculums. Jai Shri Ram.